my mother was supposed to be an opera singer in Poland. She was supposed to study at the Warsaw Conservatory of Music. So what I remember as the very first thing was my sister and my sister's a year and a half younger, and my mother used to come in at night, and she would sing us all the great arias from Madame Butterfly and Rigoletto, and all these magnificent pieces. And she had a beautiful voice. But my father had been a jockey, horses, not a disc jockey. And of course, we wanted to listen to my father because the stories were dangerous, and things about the racetrack and these gorgeous horses, man of war, blah, 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 blah. So we would always go, "We want daddy, we want daddy." In the middle of my mother singing one of these gorgeous opera, like Un Bel Day from Madame Butterfly, she had to leave the room and exit stage left so my father could come in and talk to us. Those were my first memories of music. And that's how it all started for me, and then when I was older, I had a little transistor radio, and I used to listen to a disc jockey that you're not going to know who he was, but he was very famous, called Hunter Hancock. I don't know if you know that name. And I would listen at night, and I would put the transistor to my ear, and I'd listen to all this music. And my mother would come in and she'd go, my real name's Annette. And she would go, "Annette, turn off that radio." So I would be listening to heavy, actually rhythm and blues, because that's what Hunter Hancock was. But those are my first memories of music. History repeating.
Welcome back to History Repeating, and our third and final episode with the great Carol Connors. As you heard in the beginning, Carol had music in her blood, and the right role models to foster her talent. Carol's wide range of influences served her well later on, not just as a singer, but as a songwriter too.
When I was a kid, I used to love music and film. Like one of my favorite songs, don't laugh, was "Don't Forsake Me, Oh My Darling" from High Noon. "Oh, don't forsake me, oh my darling." I mean, I just loved it, by Frankie Lane. And I loved combining the visual with the music. It was like really important to me. And as I got older, that was when I was really young, but when I got older, I mean, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I saw West Side Story 13 times. I know every note of music, every lyric. My sister and I would interchange the parts at night. She'd be Bernardo, I'd be Maria. She'd be this, I'd be that. And "A boy like that who kill your brother." I mean, we knew them all. And then Calamity Jane, I saw that 11 times. In fact, Sammy Fain won the Oscar, if I'm not mistaken, for Secret Love, because he wrote the music to that. I mean, I was always fascinated by the combination of visual and audio.
Carol's love of cinematic music would go on to serve her well, as she co-wrote the themes to films like Rocky and the Disney classic The Rescuers, both of which she received a nomination for Best Original Song at the Academy Awards. But one of her most interesting themes is that of the 1977 cult classic Orca, called "We Are One," which really shows Carol's skills as a songwriter and as a vocalist.
I wanted to talk about my favorite song that you've done, which is "We Are One" from the movie Orca.
You do like that one.
I love that song. It's got just this incredible, haunting melody to it. And that note that you hit at the end on the last one.
It's known as high note. I wrote with Ennio Morricone, who, according to Clint Eastwood, was the maestro. And he wrote "Fistful of Dollars," many, 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 remarkable themes that were remembered. And they were doing Orca, the killer whale. Well, I'm a scuba diver, considered a little mermaid. Barbie Benton, my best friend, and myself, she was the love of Hugh Hefner's life. We scuba dive around the world. I mean, we've done body glove layouts in Fiji and whatever. And so, I mean, I've been in the water with the dolphins, and I missed the humpback whales with Jean-Michel Cousteau by one day in Fiji. They all went in the water, but I was on an airplane coming in. I can even imitate a dolphin, which I'll do at the end. I won't do it now because your listeners would probably turn off the entire podcast. But when I heard that, as to use your word, that haunting melody, and saw the film, and you know, the male orca dies at the end. He dies because he can't get out from under the ice sheet. They breathe, you know, they're mammals. I literally wrote it in my mind from the point of view of the male orca, of the whale, of how the whale would have seen the world. And I'm so thankful that it's touched so many people, because I get letters and emails, and the AFI called me about it, you know, American Film Institute, and said that it was a cult classic. I mean, I didn't realize at the time. It's just when I write, I become so laser beam coordinated with what I'm doing that I don't think of anything else. And somehow I was able to transport myself back into the water as you know, a scuba diver, and having been in the water with the dolphins. And it's like I could feel what the if you have to see the film to know what I'm talking about.
Not only did Carol write iconic movie themes, but she was also successful at writing television themes, including Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams, the theme to Robin Leach's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Here's Carol to tell you more about a very special performance of the theme and just how it came to be.
It's going to be in my up-and-coming documentary, Elvis, Rocky, and Me, the Carol Connors story, and the book that's coming out next year. But what happened was I wrote Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams for Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And Dionne Warwick sang it. So, and she did a great job. It was on for 10 years. But Robin Leach. So he said, we've done your house, Carol. Where do you want to go? And, you know, and I didn't want to go to Europe. I said, oh, I'd love to dive the Bay Islands off of Honduras and sink a piano and play Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams under the ocean. He said, run that by me again, Carol. And I did. And they worked it out. And we went on this 450-foot ship, and it was called the Ocean Quest, and it was mainly divers. Okay, so I'm standing there with my boyfriend at the time, and I said to the captain, you know, we're going to sink a piano. And he said, no, you're not. I said, yes, we are. And in comes this enormous crate with a piano. And the producer of Lifestyle said, we're sinking the piano. It wasn't a baby grand. It was an upright. 88 keys. And sure enough, we sank it off of Rortan, which is one of the islands. Did not touch the coral. I'm very much of a conservationist. We sank it into into the sand at 250 pounds of ballast to keep the piano down. I sat in with my knees in the sand, and I played Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams under the ocean. It was one of their most memorable runaways with the rich and famous, because nobody believed that I had done it, but it's right there and you could see it. Oh, but the funny story is, so all the dive boats looks like very James Bondish. So we were on one of the, boats, and there were people in back of us, but we had to get up real early because we had to have the light, the this and the that. So we're up, and we left the site, And apparently another boat came, and there was this lady that had not been much of a scuba diver, and her husband and other people on their boat, and the dive instructor, and she went down with them, and we were in 80 feet of water. And she said to her husband when she came up, she said, "There's a piano down there." And her husband said, "You mean a trumpet fish?" She said, "No, I mean a piano." So they all went down and they took pictures. We left it there playing because it ended up becoming a reef. In fact, they call it CC's 88. And they ended up all playing it. And we were like legendary on the ship, that we sang a piano. But we did. I was with Robin in trying to think of the name of the place. It was near San Diego, a very famous place and very private. And it was Victoria Principal's. She was having a tournament, a tennis tournament. And I said to Robin, "I know you use that phrase, but do you have a song called Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams?" He said, "No." And I said, "Well, you should. It's the whole statement of your entire concept of your show." And he said, "Then write it." And I said, "I just may do that." So I co-wrote it. I co-wrote that one. I do write by myself, but that one I co-wrote it and got to Dionne Warwick. I knew she was perfect for it, and she recorded it. And 10 years it was on.
Carol really has done it all, from TV to movies to being a teddy bear and everything in between. Carol's an artist like nobody else, with a decades-long successful career. So, to close things off, I'd like to share what Carol hopes her legacy will continue to be. But first, I want to thank Carol Connors for a wonderful interview. And if you'd like to see more of my chat with Carol, then be sure to check out the first 2 episodes where we discuss Rocky, being a teddy bear, and her relationship with the great Elvis Presley. As Carol said to me, music is her life and her life is her music. And I think the best way to describe Carol is by saying to know her is to love her. Until next time, this has been History Repeating.
My music is my life, and my life is my music. So I'm just hoping and praying. I wrote a song, which is in the film, the documentary called Only the Music, Only My Song. And I wrote the music and I co-wrote the lyrics. And in it, it says, only the music, only my song. They'll be there long after I'm gone. Only the music, only my song. They're my friends after all my friends have gone. I mean, the epiphany that I had is that I hope I live a long life and I hope I'm there standing, and I hope that after I'm gone, my music will be what was my friend to people. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
That it will live on. I don't know. I can only, and there's a line in the song too that says, "I only hope you know I've done my best."